Welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 63. You're here with Corey, Doug, and Murph. Thank you for joining us. Today we're gonna discuss the Batman, which I guess we can count as a sequel to our longest episode ever. We'll try not to approach 4 hours tonight, but that's what we did when we initially talked about the first trailer that came out. But before we get to the Batman, let's run through some news and what we watched recently, including Peacemaker and Uncharted. All right, guys, we'll go straight to box office. Corey, you were alluding to how bad you were doing, I believe. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so we'll start with your numbers. In our winter spring box office pool, where each of us drafted 5 or 6 movies each. Corey, you're currently in third place with $40 million. This is with 2 of your movies having come out now, Death on the Nile and Cyrano. How was Cyrano, by the way?
I liked it, actually, a lot more than I was expecting. It was, the music was definitely like earworm material. Like a lot of it stuck with me for like a few days after.
I believe the band The National did the music. The one who did T-Swift's like latest couple albums.
Oh, interesting. I was actually wondering because the music was like way better than I was expecting. So that makes a lot of sense. But it was a good movie. Definitely recommend it if you like musicals.
And then, did you see Death on the Nile yet? Or
No.
You just saw Murder on the Orient Express?
Yeah, I watched Murder in the Orient Express.
Why are you laughing, Doug?
Because I was just laughing because I was like, no one's seen Death on the Nile.
No one is. I will see it eventually.
Including Corey, who drafted it with his first pick. You have really bad first picks. What did you... You had Last Night in Soho in the fall, and what was it last summer? You come around in like the second round. I can't remember what your summer pick. Oh, Suicide Squad.
But that did I pick Last Night in Soho as my first yes. round? Yeah. Okay.
I think you had back to back, but Last Night in Soho was the first one you said.
Suicide Squad. Yeah, that still makes me very angry. Yeah, that should have been a shoo-in.
Maybe this summer will go better.
Maybe.
But you're not done yet. I mean, you've still got 4 movies to go. You've got The Lost City, which could be a modest-sized box office hit. You've got Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, The Bad Guys, and The Northman. So 4 movies that have potential.
I saw the trailer for The Bad Guys finally, and looks fun. The animation's cool.
You heard it here, guys.
I don't think
Bad Guys looks fun.
I saw the trailer for The Lost City for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, this is what that movie's about."
Oh, I feel like I've seen that trailer so many times.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it at all.
That's definitely one I've seen a bunch.
Not as much as Morbius, but I have seen that trailer a lot. But yeah, I mean, of your 2 movies, I think it's like Death on the Nile has made like $37 million, and Cyrano's made $3 million. So both have been disappointments.
It's insane.
But basically anything that Fox has put out since the Disney acquisition has been a bomb, with the exception of Free Guy. So it's more of the same from them. All right. And then we got in second place, we've got Doug with $119 million. He was very close to first. He might have even been first for a few days.
I think he was.
Until the Batman came out. But yeah, his 2 movies so far have been Moonfall and Uncharted. Uncharted just broke 100 million. Still has a bunch in the tank. Moonfall, not doing well. Bombed with under 20 million. But you still also have 4 movies, Doug. You've got X, Morbius, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Ambulance. So you still have your number 2 and number 3 films, along with some others that could do decent.
No, Sonic was my number 1, I think.
Your number 1 and number 2? Did I say 2 and 3?
Yeah, I think I have my 1 and 2 left.
You have your 1 and 2 left. Uncharted was your number 3. Good catch. And then at number 1, you have myself with 250 million, 134 of which is from the Batman, and it's a very solid opening weekend. Second biggest opening of the pandemic. It's an opening on par with Suicide Squad, the original shitty version.
About 30 minutes. Joker too, right?
Yeah, it's better than Joker. Granted, Joker had the R rating. It's less than Batman vs Superman, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises. About 30 million less than each of those. But yeah, I mean, it's got great word of mouth so far, so we'll see how far it can go. I need it to probably make like 350 to 400 million to have a shot at winning this based on the movies you have left, Doug. And then my other movies so far, I've had almost all of mine. I've had Jackass Forever, Marry Me, and Dog. All of those have come out. Jackass Forever was a solid like double. It's got 50 something million. Dog has been solid. It's got about 40 million. And then Marry Me, it's got like 20. And then I have one movie left because I drafted the Batman. I only get 5 movies. And my one movie to go is Father Stew, which doesn't open until April. So, yeah, we've got a interesting matchup, I would say. It's going to come down. We're probably not going to know who the winner is until May. Like we said previously, movies can go up to May 31st to make money to determine the winner. So, yeah, next up, Corey, you've got Doug, you have X, which opens not this week, but next week. Lost City, I believe, opens in like 3 weeks. And then everything else opens in April. So the Batman really has the month to itself, which is
that's all it's got, right? Because then it hits HBO Max.
It hits it pretty quickly, right? Like 30 days.
It's like a 30 day.
Yeah,
That
the
seems
middle.
so dumb.
I think it's 45. It's the middle of April.
Yeah, well, the fucking Warner Brothers people are more concerned about. Well, not Warner Brothers, Warner Media people.
Yeah,
I'm more concerned about their
HBO
streaming platform than they are about
subscriptions.
box office. But I mean, look at Sony. Fucking, they're still making money on Spider-Man: No Way Home. Like,
yeah, it's nuts.
If this movie still counted for me now, I could win just on its like 2022 grosses.
The residuals. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like a top 5 movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. Anything else on box office that we want to mention?
No.
All right. Who's going to see Batman again? I guess I'll mention this again just because it's the only movie that any of us are going to see in theaters right now.
I'm definitely going to see it a second time. Maybe sometime this week, hopefully.
Nice.
I probably will not. I was like, it's hitting the HBO Max so quickly that I'm just like, I'm just gonna watch it on HBO Max. It's a nice like, I can take a break if I want during the middle of it and watch it on my couch and just be comfortable. Sounds nice to me. I mean, it was good in theaters. Like, I'm glad I saw it in theaters, but I don't need to see it again in theaters.
Did you see it in IMAX, Doug?
No, but I did it at the theater that like Murph and I saw Dune in. It's got like
it's basically an
decent
IMAX
screen. Yeah, it's a decent sized screen. It's got the Dolby Atmos and all that.
Cool.
I mean, none of us are going to real IMAXs nowadays, which sucks. We're all going to the LIMAX.
Yeah, it's basically an IMAX equivalent. So if I can get into it to see like big movies, that's where I usually go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd love to see it in an IMAX.
Speaking of Dune, I'm just going to go on a very tiny tangent with news. I heard Florence Pugh might be in the second one.
Yeah, she's. I heard that this afternoon. She's going to be playing a pretty big character in like the second part of the book. From the rumor that I read, so
who's going to be the Emperor?
That's a good question. I don't know. Gary Oldman. That's who I would like.
You heard it here first, folks. Gary Oldman as the Emperor in Dune Part 2. All right. Brief aside over. Let's get into what we watched, which is Uncharted and Peacemaker Season 1. We'll talk about Uncharted first. All 3 of us are big fans of the series. I believe all 3 of us have played all 4 games, plus the spinoff or variations of those 5 games. So we've all been watching eagerly at who they be casting for these characters from the games, for Nathan Drake and Sully, his mentor. Needless to say, we were confused at their picks of Tom Holland as Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Sully. Mark Wahlberg was originally supposed to play Drake like 10 plus years ago when they were originally talking about making this movie. Now
I'm glad we dodged that. I don't know that I could have dealt with the Mark Wahlberg Drake.
It was
he
almost
kind of looked. I mean, he kind of looked the part, but he wouldn't sound.
Yeah, but that
like
performance would have just annoyed me.
Yeah, but yeah, we got Tom Holland as Drake and Wahlberg as Sully. And ever since the trailers came out, I mean, Doug especially has been just ragging on this film. But I tried to keep some hope going that it wouldn't be a complete shit show. Now that we've all seen it, what are our thoughts?
I did enjoy it. I had a lot of issues with it just because I didn't think that they really captured. I didn't think they captured the world and the characters well, or at least as well as I wanted. But it was fun. It was fine. I think Mark Wahlberg, I actually ended up not like hating him. He was all right. He wasn't Sully, but I enjoyed Mark Wahlberg in it, and Tom Holland was good with his just his banter and their chemistry. So it was fine. I didn't love it though. I'm hoping that the sequel they improve upon it. We'll see. The action was good.
I don't like it. I mean, I like went into it like wanting to like it, and I don't think it was necessarily Tom Holland or Mark Wahlberg's performances. Those were fine. Just that story was like trash to me. Like it was just like it felt like a plot similar to Red Notice, where it's just like someone just threw a bunch of like action into a script, and it was all CGI, and none of it was like interesting. I mean, I would have preferred, since Uncharted is basically a video game version of Indiana Jones, like a little bit more of like an Indiana Jones type of movie, and what we got was like Fast and Furious 9.
No, we got National Treasure.
Yeah, it was
National Treasure. I would say is a smarter movie than.
Well, yes, it was.
Yeah,
I mean,
this thing was just like dumb. It was like so much. It was so dumb that, and I'm not spoiling anything because this is in the trailers. But like, there's a pirate ship chase through the air because there's like a helicopter carrying each pirate ship, and they're like firing cannons at each. It's just the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like
it reminded me a lot of. I don't even know why, but it reminded me a lot of Waterworld, and well, Cutthroat Island makes a lot of sense because pirates, but it just like the aesthetic of like that scene, that action scene at the end. I got like vibes like just like cheesy like 90s action movie, but maybe that's what they were going for.
I don't I have no idea what they were going for. I don't really understand.
The script was not good. That's for sure.
Chase through the air.
I mean, that was the only like crazy, like really crazy thing. Otherwise, they kind of pulled shit from video games.
The plane fight was good, like on the hangar plane, the hangar aircraft. That was cool.
But I feel like you gotta try to do something big to end like an action movie. So I wasn't like offended by it. I mean, it was stupid. But
yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of like, I don't want a CGI fest action. Like to me, that like when it's just overly CGI and unrealistic like that, like kind of like how Black Widow was during that finale. I just like I don't feel like there's any stakes, and I get bored.
No, I get that. I get that.
I hate when movies do that because
like, I zone out to a degree also.
Yeah, and I found myself like zoning out a lot during this movie because I was just like, it was just too over the top and goofy for me. And so I would have preferred it to be like a little bit more grounded. I get it. Like even the Uncharted games aren't that grounded because Nathan's just murdering hundreds of people and jumping from platform to platform and climbing shit like a monkey. But I don't know. I was just like, I wanted to like it. Like I went in being like, give this movie a shot. And I have nothing bad to really say about, I mean, I didn't think Tom Holland was Drake, the character, but I was fine with that. And then Mark Wahlberg wasn't Sully, but like none of their performances really were the issue for me. It was just I found the story to be kind of lackluster.
Yeah. I actually like the supporting cast a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like I like the actress who played
Chloe. Yeah, I thought she was like my favorite of the cast.
I liked Sam Drake. I liked the little bit that we saw of him. I thought he was good.
Well, I have to assume they're casting a different actor for him in the future, because they like hide his face in the credit scene.
Oh yeah, that's true. The villain I did not like the actual villain.
Yeah,
she was lame.
What do you guys think of that cameo?
Oh, the Nolan North cameo.
Yeah.
That was so cringy.
It took me out of the movie immediately, and I hate when they do shit like that in movies.
It was so bad. So bad.
He's just like on the beach.
Yeah, and he made a comment about like jumping out of airplanes or something.
I've done that before.
Yeah. Oh God.
Look, as far as like I'm concerned, the movie was like a 3-star popcorn movie. Like it was perfectly fine. I mean, as a Uncharted adaptation, it didn't do a great job. Didn't do as bad a job I've seen from plenty of other
worse
video game movies. Hopefully they listen to what people have to say about this one and fix things for the sequel, which I have to assume based on one of the post-credit scenes will be more of a straight adaptation of like the first game. They'll probably bring in Elena and Sully have his mustache the entire time. Tom Holland, thankfully, will be a couple of years older at least. I mean, I guess they filmed this before and during the pandemic, so it'll probably be aged up even more, which will be good. But yeah, like you said, the performances like weren't what I had an issue with. It just like I don't know. Those types of movies have been done better both as other movies like National Treasure and Indiana Jones, and they've been better as movies as Uncharted video games. I'd rather play Uncharted and deal with all the cinematic action scenes while I'm playing them and as cutscenes in between them, like rather than watching it as a full-length movie.
Yeah, I mean the whole plane thing is like super fun because you're the one that's flying off the plane and trying to get back on, and
yeah, exactly.
It like loses something when you're watching it.
Yeah, just like when they
living it.
When they inevitably do the Himalayan opener of Uncharted 2, it's not going to be as cool as playing it.
No, definitely not.
They did the plane scene like the Himalayan opener, where it started with the plane and then
yes, like the in media res type of opener.
Yeah, which is I don't think they did that. That didn't happen
That didn't happen in 3. I thought the same thing. 3 begins with a flashback. If I remember correctly. Yeah, or no, 3 right. or it starts with a fight in a bar, or maybe those scenes are back to back, with Drake and Sully in a bar fight, and then with the flashback with Drake running around. I think when he was a kid. Okay, that's enough of that.
Drake's Fortune. It's going to be the next movie, so we'll see what it does.
And it has it could be better than the video game because Drake's Fortune does not hold up very well.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it doesn't.
There's not really a plot to Drake's Fortune other than like
it's a lot of just fucking gunfights.
It's a tech demo. It was a tech demo for the engine and what they were trying to do. So yes, it definitely has potential to be better than that game.
Like, it was awesome the first time I played it, and then the second time I played it after playing the rest of the games, was like, ugh, this
Does not
this one
hold
does not
up
hold
well.
up very well.
Yeah, 2's the one where it like takes the leap with the train
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
Definitely. 2, 3, and 4, fucking fantastic. The spinoff also a lot of fun. All right. How about Peacemaker Season One? We were originally going to talk about this like after the first 4 or 5 episodes when all of us, like when Doug and I caught up on it, because we got into it kind of late. And then we're like, let's wait till the end of the season. We'll let Corey catch up. And then we kept pushing. But here we are now. Let's talk about Peacemaker.
I caught up.
Yeah. First things first, how'd you think Peacemaker was as like the protagonist of his own story compared to being like the one of the only actual like villains of the Suicide Squad that were on the team?
I loved it. I thought his character played. I mean, I wouldn't say that he played better, but it was like a refreshing take with the same character. We saw him through a different lens as kind of like the hero of this story, which I was wondering how they were going to do it based on how unlikable in a lot of ways he was from the Suicide Squad movie. And they did a really good job.
Yeah, and they pull no punches also by showing like him at his worst, right? When the show starts.
Yep.
Like showing him killing Rick Flag.
Yeah, and like I liked how James Gunn took that specifically, like a terrible moment in that movie where most people, like moviegoers, like just like hated him for killing him and used it as, a launch pad for redeeming his character in this show, which was like really, really clever the way he did that.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely do a good job of redeeming him throughout or getting you to change your opinion on him throughout. And I mean, my God, did he have like the worst like origin story?
Yeah.
When they finally get to that shit was tragic. They do a good job of explaining like how he got to be who he was.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought they did a good. I mean, it's like the perfect James Gunn character. It's like kind of this seems like not a great person, but has some redeeming qualities to him. I feel like that's James Gunn's bread and butter, and so this character played really well for what James Gunn can do, and the fact that I think it definitely helped that James Gunn wrote every script for the series. I thought you could show it felt like one big cohesive story. And he directed the majority of the episodes, or a good chunk of the episodes. And I think I heard for the season 2, he's directing all of them.
Yeah, I heard it, writing and directing all of them,
which is pretty cool. It's you don't usually get that where you have a director, writer do every episode in the series. So that's pretty neat. But I thought like when they announced this, it felt like a show that didn't need to be done. And it probably still isn't a show that needed to be done, but I'm glad it was done because it wound up being way cooler and more interesting than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it sounded like a dumb cash grab when it was initially like it was just sort of like, oh, DC's going all in on James Gunn, like, but like it didn't seem like it was like a necessary thing.
Yeah.
But it's just as good, if not better, than the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And then you could tell it wasn't a cash grab. It was, they probably said, James Gunn, what do you want to work on? And he was like, I really want to do a Peacemaker series.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what like he liked working with John Cena, and he had an idea, and that's what it felt like to me. It didn't feel like DC was like, you got to make this movie. Because I mean, if you think about it, like James Gunn's got enough clout that he could just be like, fuck off. So yeah, I was really happy with it. I mean, we got to talk about, like, to me, the best thing in the series, which is the opening.
Oh, the opening is amazing.
It's a very fun opening.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's really it's a great opening. And it's really cool that they did like when you listen to James Gunn talk about it, like they did the opening because they didn't want people to hit the skip button.
Yeah, they want
mission accomplished.
Check out everyone's names and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I never skipped it.
Yeah, I never skipped it either. I thought
I've watched it on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean,
the YouTube one's weird because there's the Eagly isn't in it. Or he doesn't. He doesn't. You can't hear him caw or something.
Oh,
the audio.
Yeah, I mean, I binged this in one day, and like I didn't skip the opening once. Like I couldn't get enough of it. It's just like so catchy and funny.
But you said the best thing. So who do we think was the standout of the show? Like who? I think all three of us probably the same standout, and that's why I'm leading it into like that. No, Vigilante was my favorite.
Vigilante's great.
Yeah, he's my favorite of the show.
He was just so goddamn funny, and I didn't expect anything from this character or this actor. I don't even really remember him from being in the Harry Potter movies.
Either do I.
But he absolutely killed it, and he was somebody who wasn't even originally cast. He came in and had to reshoot all scenes after like they have already did the first 5 episodes. So
yeah, he had 5 episodes worth of reshots.
That's wild. But did it pay off?
Yeah, I really
was perfect.
I really liked him. I really like basically like the entire supporting cast.
The entire 11th Street crew.
Yeah, I mean they were fantastic.
Cena was great.
Robert Patrick was a great villain. Like
dude, Cena's just continuing to kill it. Who would have thought? Who the fuck would have thought?
He's such a good actor.
Him and Batista, man. The two of them. I mean, clearly James Gunn knows what to do with both of them.
Oh yeah,
clearly saw great things in both of them. But both of them were just doing awesome things wherever in like everything they're doing.
Yeah.
The one thing I liked about this show is that it reminded probably more than any of his more recent projects. It reminded me a lot of his like older films, just the way that it was shot, like a lot of like the really dark humor. Like obviously he couldn't go that dark in Guardians. Suicide Squad he did to an extent, but like it reminded me like a lot like of Super and
it reminded me more of Slither and Super than Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad, despite the fact that it's shared characters.
Right. Which I thought was super refreshing. And just seeing him do TV, like he really hit the ground running with doing like the TV format.
Yeah.
I thought the guy that played Murph was really good.
Okay, yeah.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah, you don't see him shouted out too much just because he wasn't like flashy.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I thought he did like a good job based on where his story goes, and because that character wound up being like more complicated than he originally
seemed.
It's
hard to talk about him until like you really see his purpose, like more over halfway into the show.
Yeah, but I thought that actor did a good job. But yeah, I mean, there was no weak performance. They all did what they had to do. And it was entertaining throughout. James Gunn does a really good job with like CGI animals. I thought like the eagle was like really well like animated, and it kind of felt like a real eagle, like the way they animated him and the way he moved and stuff. So that was kind of cool. I didn't think for a TV show that the eagle would look as good as it looked, but. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything else about this that really stuck out.
The one thing I wanted to say was the like the dialogue, the way that James Gunn wrote. I mean, he's great at dialogue to begin with, but like the jokes were so funny, and they just kept coming. Like there were so many times where I was just on the floor laughing my ass off between like the banter and like different characters going back and forth and whatever Peacemaker was getting into, in the episode. It was great.
Yeah, you could tell they had built in like just improv.
Yeah.
Parts that were they were just like you could tell they were just like
yeah.
The part where Cena's fucking running through names of all people that he could have that Economos could have framed instead of his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a bunch of scenes like that where it's like, oh, they had so much fun just like coming up with random people.
Yeah. Cena did a good job of just like coming up with names too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was reading that an interview with James Gunn, and he said, yeah, like doing that, like James Gunn would be throwing out names, and Cena would be coming up with names like at the same time, and they were just like going all in on just ridiculousness.
Yeah, but it looked like they had a lot of fun making this, and I'm excited for. They already announced season 2, right?
Yeah.
They did. I mean, Gunn's got to finish everything with Guardians. I mean, he's got Guardians 3, the holiday special, the ride at Epcot, and then I guess he'll go right into Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah, so I guess probably at least a year, right?
Yeah, definitely. I would imagine it won't be till 2023 that we get the next season, but it sounds like it'd be worth it.
Yeah, what a gift that DC got by being able to get their hands on Gunn.
Yeah, absolutely.
That really worked out for them, and he's been a good addition to the DC universe. I don't think we can call it the DCEU, right? Because that feels like
it's in the DCEU.
Yeah,
it had Aquaman and the Flash were there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was great too. That was really funny.
Yeah. So
yeah, that was a surprise. And
it was
a surprise.
Pretty impressive. They got like heavy hitters like that onto the show just for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Maybe they'll get Affleck for season 2.
Yeah, it sounded like Gunn's like pushed.
Anything's possible.
Gunn pushed them as hard as he could from what I heard, on the Justice League stuff. And like what we got is like, as far as DC was able to, or Warner Brothers was willing to go.
Yeah.
He wanted all of them. And they were like, we'll give you this.
Hey, Aquaman's made the most of all of them worldwide, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think they've got like contract issues, and like, they got the whole issue.
Oh well, they can't have Ray Fisher. They can't have Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Ray Fisher's got had that whole issue with Warner Brothers, so they're not going to use him. And then
Henry Cavill's got his issues.
Yeah, and then
with contracts,
Batman is
like,
we got a new Batman movie coming out.
Exactly. We don't know what to do with him. And then Gal, she's, I guess, doing her own shit.
Yeah, she's busy. She's filming Red Notice too.
Yeah, and 3, right? Aren't they doing 2 back to back?
I don't know.
Wait, they're filming that already?
I don't know. I made that up, but
they are going to be doing 2 and 3 back to back, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure they have to, because they're trying to get Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds all together is going to be, I'm sure, a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I have to imagine Ryan Reynolds will be going into Deadpool 3 sometime this year. So
have they said that that's actually coming?
No, but they've said it.
He's alluded to it.
Yeah, and news should be coming sometime soon.
Okay. Cool. That's exciting.
I mean, now that the Netflix Marvel shows are on Disney Plus, there's no reason why they can't do R-rated movies.
Yeah.
They're throwing R-rated content on Disney Plus.
They need to.
They need to if they want to increase their subscribers.
I really think, I mean, they've tapped out, it seems like, their subscriber base for the younger, kid-friendly crowd, and they need to get probably more adult subscribers, I would imagine. But I don't know. DC, I mean, we're going to talk about the Batman, but I've been more excited recently about the things DC is doing, outside of Spider-Man No Way Home. But DC's just, it feels like they're finally starting to hit their stride, where what they're doing is starting to feel fresh and interesting.
Yeah, I mean, other than Wonder Woman 1984, they've been on a hot streak since maybe going back to Wonder Woman, the first one.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the whole, when they realized that they couldn't be Marvel anymore, and they're not going to outdo Marvel at Marvel's own game, I feel like that's when the DC stuff is starting to gotten a lot better, where they're just we don't fucking care about continuity and all that. We're just gonna make movies.
But I think you're going to be pretty excited for Marvel, like this coming year with Doctor Strange, Thor. What else we got coming up?
Yeah, we still haven't gotten
Fantastic
a Thor trailer.
Four will be soon. Blade will be soon. Likely get Deadpool 3 soon. Black Panther 2 will be interesting just to see how they do it.
Yeah,
Guardians 3. It's a lot of sequels and acquisitions coming up soon. So be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, it's definitely exciting to see what DC's got coming up. Of the 3 coming out later this year, what are you most excited for? From DC?
3? It's Flash.
Flash, Aquaman 2, and Black Adam.
I mean, probably Flash.
Yeah,
so
me too.
you got it's the Flashpoint story, which I really like that story,
Yeah.
and then you got Keaton and Affleck.
Did you ever check out, Doug, that Flashpoint animated movie on Netflix?
You're fucking trolling me. I know you definitely haven't watched that.
Not yet. I haven't gone to it. I
You should
believe it's
watch it,
on
it's good.
HBO Max, right?
I liked it when I haven't
Yeah,
watched it in a while, but I
on
watched
HBO
it.
Max. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're interested in what the Flashpoint story is,
It's good.
it's a good one.
Got
I'm
it.
gonna. There's a bunch of cartoons. Like I think all the DC cartoons are on there.
Yeah, Long Halloween, Year One, are all on there.
Yeah,
They're all pretty good, except for the Joker one,
the Killing Joke.
Killing Joke. That was not
Yeah,
good.
that was weird. I watched that, but yeah,
All right.
I mean, there's a bunch of
DC.
good cartoons on there that are worth checking out if you're into that type of thing.
Cool. All right. Well, DC's on a roll, so let's talk about the big one that just came out this past weekend, and something that we've been talking about for a very, very long time, since I guess the entirety of Live Breathe Film, and that is the Batman. So I got some questions for you guys, so we can discuss this movie, such as our overall thoughts, what we thought of Robert Pattinson, standout / disappointing performances, comparisons to previous movies, portrayals, and what we want from sequels, which will inevitably be coming after this opening weekend, and the reception to the film.
So we're gonna go into spoilers at all, or
Yeah, there's no point of us doing this podcast if we're not going to be just like spoiling shit. In my opinion.
okay? So I mean, if assuming that someone hasn't seen it yet because it only came out this past weekend.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah,
yeah, you could probably
GTFO
leave
now.
before anyone leaves. I mean, or is listening to it later. I mean, I like the movie. I think you both really like the movie.
Yes.
Yes.
We would all recommend it.
See you later.
Before we, yeah.
Definitely go see it.
All right. So
spoilers.
Let's dive into the spoilers. All right. So you hit your first thing was overall thoughts.
Yep.
I thought it was a really, really good movie. I thought it felt the most like it felt like the comics kind of coming onto the page or onto the screen a lot of times. Like it felt page to screen. Specifically like the Long Halloween comic, it felt like it felt very inspired by that. It felt like I was reading through a comic, which is, I would say that's the first Batman movie where I've watched that I've felt that way. I think it could have been probably a little tighter as a movie overall. I think it started off really strong, and then there was points in the movie that I think caused it to fall a little bit short of like being like perfect or being something that I would put up as like masterpiece level, or like it was a little frustrating to me at times because it felt like if they had done a couple of things differently, that movie could have been like a masterpiece or like a perfect movie. But it was still really, really good. And so I'm not really sure what the reason, if it was just the director choices or what were the reason for the things that kind of caused it to fall a little bit short. But I mean, overall, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think like at the end of the day, like Matt Reeves wanted to make his Batman movie. Like that was the most important thing. Like he definitely, you know, took inspiration from other movies and obviously like other stories that happened. But like he wanted to do something completely different. And I think in a lot of ways he did. The movie definitely felt it was a slow paced film as a whole, not in a bad way, but just with the way that it was structured. And it was a detective movie and like more so like a noir type of movie. So it really took its time uh to kind of like express what was going on in a lot of things other than dialogue. Like there was so many moments in that movie that I really liked where it was just like Robert Pattinson like emoting without and just expressing whatever he needed to express at that moment in in that scene without saying anything. And I thought that was like really cool. And a lot of the other actors did the same thing, but they like they let like a lot of the scenes like breathe in ways that I was not expecting, and I thought that was really cool. Probably my only gripe is I would have liked a little bit more action, um just organized differently in the film than how it was. But other than that, like I mean, I really enjoyed everything about the movie. The supporting cast was fantastic. Gotham like felt like a character in itself, which was great. Probably, I know Murph said this to me, but it was most likely the most beautifully shot Batman movie that we've ever seen. It was just done with like so much care in so many different ways. The music was great, um, and it felt like a very refreshing, in most ways, take on the character. And like we saw Batman more so than Bruce Wayne uh, in a period of time where we really haven't seen him. Like when he's trying to figure shit out, and we got a whole movie of that, which was like really cool. Like him just like failing at things, doing things like probably not the right way.
I mean, the whole movie, it felt like he was just like, I mean, he failed.
Yeah, all the time. Like, and I thought that was really cool how they did that.
I mean, actually, if you like I was thinking about it a little bit, but I was like, Riddler doesn't succeed without Batman's. I mean, they say it, but like
Yep.
when I reflected on it, it was like, oh yeah, Batman like basically helps. Like if the Batman doesn't exist, like Riddler's plan doesn't succeed.
Yeah, he
Like
helped
so,
him.
Yeah, it's the whole escalation thing that they were talking about in Dark Knight, or the end of Batman Begins.
Yeah, and like Riddler's stuff like doesn't play out because he doesn't. His plan never gets like executed to its full potential without
Yeah.
Batman playing into it, and like yeah, he ultimately like fails because he doesn't figure out the final clue until it's too late, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very interesting to see where they take this because they alluded to like a lot of things, and I hope they they go in this direction where they tell stories that we haven't seen before. Not don't I don't want them to rehash and do stuff that we've seen already. Um, so I'm very very excited to see what they do with this version of the world going forward.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a little bit about like where we think they're going to go in this world, what we want to see them do. But yeah, for my overall thoughts, I love the film. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. Um, I had high expectations based on the Dark Knight trilogy. Um, And other than the initial trailer that we got in August of 2020, none of the additional like promo materials, trailers, like blew me away. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I think it's the best made Batman film we've had, as far like top to bottom, like cinematography, score, everything like that, direction, script. Some of the other previous interpretations might have something better than this one had, but I think when you combine everything together, it was pretty great. Now, is it my favorite of all of them? No, it's way too early to tell. I've only seen it once. It's gonna have to see it a bunch more times before I can decide that. But as far as a first viewing, I was very happy. As far as it being a comic accurate movie or adaptation, definitely was, like, as far as the comics that I like to read, like The Long Halloween, as Doug, you mentioned, and plenty of other ones, Hush, Year One, etc. It definitely did that tone and everything. I like that very well. I mean, Batman's had so many tones over the years that you can probably even find one where Batman and Robin is the most comic accurate. But as far as the comics that I've read and the comics that I like, this one did the whole detective angle and everything like that super well, and did a great job of focusing on Batman over Bruce Wayne or over the villains. I'd say
I mean, Batman was in this movie a shit ton compared to like the other movies that we got. I mean, Dark Knight, Batman's like not really in that movie at all. I mean, you have big scenes where he shows up, but the Joker's in the movie just as much.
Well, surprisingly enough, Heath Ledger's not in Dark Knight very much. I think he has a half an hour screen time in the entire film. But there are, like, Harvey Dent gets a ton of screen time. Gordon gets a lot of screen time. But yes, I see what you're saying. But yeah, what I was going to say is I think Batman Begins probably had the best Batman like arc of any of the films up until this one. But even if you go back to Batman Begins, it's very much like a Bruce Wayne like story. It does. I don't think we'll ever get a Batman movie that does a better job of like doing the combination of Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Well, we don't see Batman. We don't see him for what, the first like 45 minutes of that movie?
Yeah, it's longer than that. It's like over an hour into the movie that he becomes Batman. It's practically half the movie. I mean, it has some like, well, no, they don't ever flash forward into anything with Batman. It's your first time you see Batman is when he's on the docks, which is about almost halfway into the film. But in this one, it's complete opposite. You're following Batman the entire time, and you're getting barely any Bruce Wayne. Even when he is Bruce Wayne, he's got the fucking mopey attitude, or like
he's never
angry attitude of Batman. He's like putting on sunglasses in a house. He is a nocturnal dude. He's Batman. So we've gotten two very different type of. I mean, this wasn't really an origin story per se because it's supposed to be his second year as Batman, but like the closest thing to this would be Batman Begins, and I guess you can say Batman 89 too, because that one kind of feels like it's like the second year of Batman, or like he's been Batman for a while. But this one just does Batman by far the best, and the villains don't overshadow him at all, which I don't have a problem with the villains overshadowing the hero if it's done super well. But I also don't have a problem similar with this or Batman Begins, where the villains are very strong, but they take a backseat to the title character.
Yeah,
I thought there's so many great scenes in the beginning of this movie that I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. So what's kind of funny is like the voiceover in the beginning. All I could think about was Rorschach.
I did think of the same thing.
but like Rorschach is making fun of Batman, so it's like kind of funny. But I was just like, I can't help but hear Rorschach right now and how the streets are screaming for help. Or
yeah, the parallel for that was definitely there for sure.
But like that whole scene where, and I kind of wish it wasn't spoiled in the trailer, but the whole scene where the bat signal goes out and they show like just like the fear that the criminals have to like just a dark alley, and like he could be lurking in any of the dark alleys and you just don't know where he's going to show up. And the way they did that tension I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like we knew where he was going to be because we saw the trailer, so you knew like he was going to be at the train station. So I kind of wish I didn't know that, because I was like, I know where he is.
But, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we saw that like a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
that was really cool. I mean, the Riddler, when he does his first kill, and you're kind of like, he's stalking out the family, and you see like his perspective from outside, and you go inside to the mayor's perspective, and then you just see like the way the glasses glow when he's like just standing behind silently. The mayor is just that was all amazing. I thought like it was just so well done. And then when Batman shows up and like the cops are just staring at him, like you could it was so well done because you could feel like all the cops just staring at Batman like, why the fuck is this guy here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. I mean, I still really enjoy the movie, but like there's just so many good parts in the beginning that are just so strong.
So what were the parts that you had mentioned in the very beginning? There were some stuff that bugged you that kept it from being like a perfect movie. What were those for you?
It all happened in like the third act, I would say. Like the way
it's always superhero movies in third acts. They can't fucking end perfectly.
Unless you're No Way Home. No Way Home, I felt was the opposite, where it like started off and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then I was just like, by the end, I'm like, take all my money. Like this is amazing. But yeah, I would say like after Riddler gets locked up, and then when he realizes to scrape up the carpet with the tool, and then it goes to that like explosion and Gotham floods, like that whole, like that part I didn't really love. It just kind of felt weird to me. I don't know why. It just didn't really like fit well. I didn't hate this scene, but like the whole fight where he's fighting like the Riddler's goons and like blasts the ceiling and comes down, like I don't know, that was kind of, I didn't love that, but I think probably what really stopped it is just the ending, the fumble on the ending. I thought the ending was just kind of bizarre because it had the voiceover where he's talking about how he realizes that he needs to be like, being vengeance isn't enough. Like he's creating like more problems by being vengeance. Like he needs to be like hope for Gotham. And I thought that would have been like probably the perfect way to end it. It's just right there. And instead we get like these two other endings that kind of feel like out of place. The one that really felt out of place was that Joker scene where he's with the Riddler. It didn't, like, it was supposed to probably excite you that the Joker's going to be showing up at some point, but I was just kind of I didn't love what I got of the performance so far. And it just felt like we were done with the Riddler, and it felt weird to go back to him again at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and the scene just felt like a post-credits type of scene.
Yeah, it definitely felt like I was like, oh wow, this feels a lot like a post-credit. And then we got another ending after that with Selena, and I wasn't really invested in like their relationship, and I didn't really need to see that goodbye.
That was a weird like scene, like their goodbye, like them on the motorcycles, like I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and then it was like a really long goodbye.
Yeah.
And it showed them like driving away in the motorcycles, and I was like, am I supposed to care? Like, what is this supposed to
like? Are they supposed to look back? Like, is this like a romantic type movie? Like, is one of them going to stop and
he looks back
and chase the other?
Yeah, it was just kind of like, I didn't need that. So like, if it were me and I was cutting it, I would have cut it probably right at that right when he talks about how he needs to be Hope, and I would just be like, the end.
Yeah.
And then call it a day. So
No,
like
I agree with
those are
you. It
the
should have ended on that like reading the journal and the reprise of
yeah,
the
and
Nirvana
it
song.
opened with the journal, reading the journal. So like it would just have been like a perfect
Would have been
symmetry
the
to
perfect
close it.
bookend. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know what was going on there. That was kind of weird. But that's it. I'm like nitpicking because I really enjoyed this movie. I was just like, it's a shame that those couple of things happened because otherwise I probably would have been like, this is a 10 out of 10 movie.
Like there's a lot of things you can shit on or like make fun of the Nolan movies for, but all three of them have fucking awesome endings.
Mm-hmm.
And they get you so hyped for like to go watch it again or for the next movie.
And there's something to say about like ending strong and like when you leave the theater being like, oh shit, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And like so like it was a shame that they fumbled the ending a little bit because you could have ended it and everyone just like be like, holy shit, like this was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still really, really good. Well, so I didn't see the movie opening night, and I know this isn't on the list of questions, but I'm curious as to what happened. But like, what was the theater crowd like? Were people really hyped?
It was the broiest crowd in the world.
It was
all fucking 30-something-year-old dudes. Like for the most part, it was all dudes.
Like were people cheering or anything, or
not really? There was a little bit, like when
got some laughs.
There was one time where people cheered, and I'm trying to remember when it was. I think it was. Oh no, it was when the Batmobile showed up for the first time. People got real amped up for that.
That was a good scene.
But there weren't any like like Captain America catching Mjolnir.
Yeah,
it was nothing like Endgame or No Way Home.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god.
Did people clap at the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
No one clapped in my theater at all. It was like
I really only see claps on Thursday night showings. I've noticed. I don't really see it any other time or hear it any other time.
No Way Home, I didn't see that opening night either, and people clapped.
Like I saw
Endgame, people clap too. If it's a big enough movie and it ends strong enough, people.
I saw Endgame twice on opening weekend. Once Thursday night and once Sunday afternoon. Both like sold out, and the crowd crazy Thursday night and like barely any reactions on Sunday.
Oh wow.
So I don't know, but obviously different states, different audiences, all that.
Yeah. It felt like this movie, and I guess you could tell based on like the theme of it all, but like this wasn't the type of movie that like hypes people up. People are just kind of like,
yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was just kind of a weird vibe, and I noticed when like the movie ended and everyone was just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the type of movie that gets you like fucking jacked up, like
like Batman
those crowd pleasing Marvel movies. I mean, I was hyped at the end because I was like so happy with it.
Yeah, I was just like, it was really good. I would have clapped. I think I kind of felt like I should have clapped.
Yeah, I gave like a half-ass clap, because like I'd say half the crowd was clapping, the other half's like, why are we clapping? Like, why do we do this at movies? The people that we are seeing in the credits are not hearing our claps right now.
It's so the other audience can know that you approved of the movie.
Exactly.
You never know. It could be
so if you're being
recorded.
So if you're being recorded, you could be used on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
All right. What do we think of Robert Pattinson as Batman?
I really loved him. Like, I thought he was fantastic as Batman. He probably, I mean, I'm not going to say my favorite, but I think he definitely could be up there. He's without a doubt in the running for my favorite so far. He played like the moody version of Batman like perfectly. Like, and he was just like imposing, and like the suit was like played really well on film. Like, I really enjoyed every aspect of it, which I was very worried about. I didn't really know if that suit was if it was just gonna look well in motion, like when we saw like different action scenes, especially because the action in this movie we actually saw. Like, we saw the fighting. It wasn't like intercutting. But it looked great. Like, the suit looked fantastic in motion. So I really have no complaints.
Yeah, I really dug the suit. Robert Pattinson, I thought, was an amazing Batman. Probably my favorite Batman performance. And I don't know that it's fair to judge like his Bruce Wayne because
It's not.
assuming that like what we saw was
You can judge it. You can judge where like the performance so far, and you can reevaluate it. And the second one comes
sure.
out.
So I guess
I
what
think
if
it
they
was
were going
designed
for,
that way, though.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like it's not the Bruce Wayne that we're familiar
It's-
with, and I'm assuming
yes.
it's because he hasn't created that character yet.
Exactly.
So
Like,
it's still him. Like Batman is him, and Bruce Wayne is basically
Like,
Batman with his voice is an octave higher, and he doesn't he doesn't have a bat suit on, but he's basically the same character.
Yeah. Like, I'm very comfortable saying, as of now, Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne is my least favorite one, with the caveat that the reason why he's my least favorite one is because of the way that Bruce Wayne was written in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was he written in a way that makes sense for the film? Yes. Do I think I will probably like him more in the next one as Bruce Wayne based on the way the film ended? Yes. And when we get to the second film, hopefully I will like to put the character more or put his performance as Bruce Wayne more on the Christian Bale, Michael Keaton range.
Yeah.
As for his Batman, after one viewing of it, I'm already comfortable saying that he's my favorite Batman. I think he did the character fucking awesome. That can change again with the second and third one if they really fuck things up. I hope he still is, to a degree, the vengeance badass type of character that he was in this one, but I understand they'll likely have to tone him down a bit based on how he's becoming more of a symbol of hope than a symbol of vengeance. But man, he was so good as Batman. Like his first scene coming into the movie, I'm just like, he's fucking incredible.
His voice was great.
Like I knew he was going to be good, but I did not think he was going to be that good. Like where he could fucking go toe to toe with Michael Keaton as Batman. Like damn, dude killed it.
He's really good. I mean, it's definitely not that Bruce Wayne would be my least favorite Bruce Wayne, but I still like don't know that it's fair to judge Pattinson because if the goal was to him basically still be Batman, which I think was the goal of this Bruce Wayne, then he did a good job because that was what he was supposed to portray. I'm really hoping by the time we get to the second movie, he's realized that he's got to create Bruce Wayne the character.
He has to create this persona.
Yeah, and that he needs to be out there and needs to do things as this Bruce Wayne character that he's developed. And I mean, we know Robert Pattinson can do like charming, so I'm sure his Bruce Wayne will be good.
Yeah, he's going to evolve, and I will be more fun to watch in the later installments.
Yeah, and once I realized that's because I didn't realize in the beginning that that's where they were going with it. But once I realized by the time I got to the end that it was like, all right, well that he's gonna have to evolve and create the Bruce Wayne character. I was like, it makes sense that to start in a place where he's still angry and he doesn't even give a shit about his persona or his public image. He's just gonna be his mopey, angry self.
Yeah.
So that's
but I mean, he's got to start caring about like justice and not just like getting vengeance and revenge on people. Like he's got a long way to grow. Like his relationship with Alfred was fucking disappointing. He didn't even have like a good relationship with him. He was like kind of like a whiny teenager with him the entire movie, which works for this version at this point in time. But yeah, just like wasn't the Bruce Wayne I like yet at this point. Got to get through the angsty emo phase in order to become the more fun version to watch. That was Michael Keaton and Christian Bale.
Apparently, Pattinson
Also,
isn't as
still have their
sexy
issues.
either.
Pattinson isn't as sexy as
as Christian Bale is sexier, apparently.
Alrighty, you heard it here first. Well, what did you got, Doug? What did you think about him as Batman?
He was an awesome Batman. Yeah, I really liked him as Batman. I thought he just had a presence about him, which is interesting because it kind of showed you don't have to be like, he didn't have to be like super jacked to have a presence. Like
he didn't have to be like Christian Bale in Batman Begins.
Yeah, he didn't work out at all for this movie.
Or Ben Affleck. Like Ben Affleck got huge.
The ones who haven't gotten huge are like the ones that killed the most.
Oh yeah, Keaton didn't.
Didn't get jacked. He was just like, I'm going to go from comedy and I'll do Batman.
Mr. Mom.
The suit will do the work for me. Like when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah. But like, yeah, he didn't need to. He had like a presence about him where you could feel like he can beat the shit out of people. And he didn't care. You could just tell he like had nothing he felt like he had nothing to lose. Yeah, it was good. It was really well done. I thought he had a lot of great moments where this Batman doesn't really talk a lot to begin with. This one didn't really talk at all.
No, which they use to a comedic effect sometimes, like when he's around other police officers.
Yeah, but like he did a really good job of just like with eye movement and stuff, you kind of could feel eye movement, and then the music, you could kind of was enough.
Yeah, he's very good at that type of acting. And just emoting. Definitely conveys it really well.
Outside of Pattinson, who did you think were the standout performances?
I said this after the movie, but the more that I've reflected on it, I really, really like John Turturro as Falcone. Like, really, really liked him. So that's probably my biggest standout, other than probably Colin Farrell as Penguin. I really liked him as Cobblepot. Everyone else was great, but not like as big as standouts for me as those two.
I enjoyed John Turturro a lot. Probably helps that we only got Tom Wilkinson playing him for only so long in Batman Begins. And this was a very different interpretation of the character, more similar to what he was in like Long Halloween and shit like that. But I was happy with him, especially because we didn't see him in any of the marketing, so I had no idea what to expect. But Jeffrey Wright was my standout. I thought he was fantastic as Gordon. Yeah. And to come so soon after Gary Oldman killed it as Gordon in 3 movies was really impressive.
Yeah. I think the reason why he doesn't stand out or like you don't hear his name a lot being mentioned is just because he's like, Jeffrey Wright's gonna do a great job. He's
just such a good actor,
consistently really good, just like Gary Oldman.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jeffrey Wright I thought did a perfect job as Gordon. Like, it was a great cast, and like they did it like where you didn't feel the Alfred Bruce relationship, like you felt the Bruce Gordon relationship really, and I thought that was a relationship that the movie did really well, and Pattinson and Jeffrey Wright did a great job.
Yeah, and like I like how there was still like not 100% trust between them. Like at times it seemed like they were like could be somewhat wavering, but ultimately like they both had like each other's back like throughout the film. Like especially in like that the scene in the police station.
Yeah. Well, it was.
Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
No, go, Doug.
I was just gonna say you could tell like Gordon was basically really sticking his neck out on the line to be like, "Hey, cops! Like, we're gonna invite this guy in a bat suit to come hang out in our crime scenes." They're like, everyone's like, "Gordon, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? This is crazy."
Yeah, exactly.
Man in a bat suit. I really
Dark
like.
Knight did that real quick too in the beginning, right? Where,
Yeah, they did.
Batman's going in the vault, and they're like, he's like, let him in.
Like,
This one though was
but he
felt
really,
like a lot
he
more
really
awkward.
wasn't. Yeah, it definitely did. Like, it didn't feel like Batman was really like one of them until Gordon became commissioner, like halfway into Dark Knight, and then at that point, it was like, okay, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this one, there was always tension with the police officers, most of the police officers, and Batman. I mean, justifiably, there was tension because most of the police officers were crooked.
Yeah, you had the one police
film.
officer though that like came around.
Oh yeah, that one.
The carpet guy.
Yeah. And this goes for like the movie as a whole. I really liked how relationship wise, the setting, how the movie started and all of this stuff was established already and you didn't think about it. Like, this is the first movie we saw with this version of these characters, and like it just hit the ground running. Like, there was already a movie happening already. Like, we already got something, and like they really transitioned into that really well. And I thought that was great. Like, Gordon and Batman's relationship was established already. Like, they didn't have to go into the origin of Bruce Wayne. Like, it was alluded to and explained in different ways than what we've had. And I thought that was written like very well, and they did that.
Yeah. Any other standouts for you, Doug? Cast wise?
No, I mean, I like Colin Farrell a lot.
Yeah, he was fun. He was by far the most fun character in the film.
Yeah. I thought Zoe Kravitz did a good job. I liked her character. It didn't, I mean, she wasn't Catwoman yet. She was like still Selena Kyle. And I think it kind of felt like they didn't always know what to do with her, but the scene she was in, like, I thought her and Pattinson had good chemistry.
Yeah, they did.
And I thought she kind of felt like a street smarts badass. So I thought it was a fun take on the character, and I enjoyed her performance.
Anyone who you guys were disappointed by, as far as the cast?
Yeah, no one for me.
The only one for me was, shockingly enough, Andy Serkis, who I wasn't expecting to be the disappointment for me, as Alfred. He was the one I predicted he would actually be Alfred, just because of the relationship with Matt Reeves and Andy Serkis, and I love him in everything, but his Alfred did not get much to do. Like, when they had him like almost die, I was like, okay, well, either he's not going to die, because he's obviously not going to die, or he dies and it's going to carry zero emotional weight, and which would be a major fail. I think he's going to be better, like, in the sequels.
Yeah,
I have to hope. But yeah, he didn't do anything for me in this one.
Yeah, he didn't really have a lot to do.
I think that's the problem.
In a 3-hour movie, but I mean, he just wasn't really present a lot of it.
Yeah, and it was weird. That was another weird scene where they like, you felt like you were supposed to feel something, that Alfred could have almost died, but you just, like, they hadn't done enough with the character at that point to get you to a place where you're like, gave a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, he died, and his use too, like, he wound up being like that whole conversation about Thomas Wayne and like what really happened with Thomas Wayne and his family, and I don't know, like, seemed like unnecessary exposition about, like, I don't know. I thought it would have been neat maybe if you didn't really know whether or not Thomas Wayne was a good guy or not.
I did like
Bruce
that
has
scene.
to wrestle with that.
Yeah. Whereas, like, it felt like it got cleared up pretty quickly after.
Got cleared up in a scene.
Yeah. And it was like, no, that's not really what happened. Your dad was really still a pretty good guy, although not squeaky clean. But yeah, that would have been, if they killed him, that would have been a huge fail. So good thing they didn't kill him. But yeah, it was just a weird weird scene. I wish they would have developed that relationship a little bit more. So completely agree with you there. I'm not gonna say it was a weak performance because I thought the performance was still good, but the Riddler performance like didn't always hit for me. I don't know if it's in my head, if it's just like Heath's performance is in my head, but sometimes when like characters try to take crazy or like actors take crazy a little far, sometimes it feels like a bad imitation of like Heath Ledger's version.
Yep.
So there was just times where
and once it got to
like
like him being Paul Dano, or even not even when he was on like video camera, I was getting like Heath Ledger Joker vibes.
Oh, well, from like that one scene, yeah.
I mean that was like
yeah.
straight out of like the Dark Knight because Joker has that video camera and
look at me.
Yeah, so there was just times like that where I just it's just hard to. Heath was just so damn good as the Joker. It's hard to
hard
to have anyone do like crazy as well as he did. So
yep.
I did overall like him. Like I thought he was very, very good. I just, like you said, Murph, I think Robert Pattinson overshadowed, that character a lot more than the other way around.
And it was definitely a choice. Matt Reeves chose to put Batman front and center, which makes sense. I mean, the movie's called Batman. But yeah, Doug, since you did bring him up, I mean, I was gonna take the look at everyone who's like billed in the cast, like top billed, like Paul Dano probably like, well, no, Barry Keoghan was on the top three. It was top billed in the credits before like the logo came up, so he'd be last. Then Gary Oldman, or not Gary Oldman. No.
Serkis.
Andy Serkis, then Dano. But yeah, I did like Dano though. I thought he was good.
There were just like
they hyped him up. He seemed like he was going to be so much bigger based on the trailers, I think.
Yeah, and there was times where he did like weird things with his voice where I was just like, it's not.
Yeah, where it was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred him to go a little bit more understated with it, but.
Yeah, maybe if he comes back in the future, he will be more like that. Since it seems like these characters aren't going away, like they're all like still in this world, which is better than in the past where every villain would die in a Batman movie.
I'm
so both in Burton movies, Schumacher movies, Nolan movies. They all had habits of killing the villains.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but apparently, I mean, this is Batman related, but that Gotham PD show apparently now is being turned into more of like an Arkham haunted house type of thing, where they're going to be like exploring Arkham and all of its
sounds
patients.
Cooler than GCPD. I mean, we just got fucking Gotham. That's a TV show.
Yeah,
like it only ended like a few years ago.
They what I read. It seemed like it was going to be a lot like Arkham Asylum, like the video game. So that would be kind of cool, especially with the characters that we've seen so far that are in Arkham.
Yeah.
So,
I have another nitpick. Speaking of Arkham, I thought Arkham didn't have the presence that Arkham usually has.
I would agree with that. It looked better in the it looked better in the Schumacher movies actually.
But we didn't.
Now that I think about it,
we didn't really see it. Like at least
that's what I didn't like about it. We were just like flashed to a jail cell, and it didn't feel like a place. Like we were going to this like institution that is Arkham Asylum.
I come to think of it, I think the Schumacher movies might have done Arkham best so far in live action.
I think so.
I didn't think it was very cool in Batman Begins. Like it just looked like a normal like
a jail.
Yeah, like a jail / hospital.
Well, because he did it like it was like a Gothic architecture.
Yeah, and kind of, which is more of what I'm picturing when I think of Arkham.
Yeah, so hopefully if they go back to Arkham, I want the exterior shot, and I want it to feel like this special place that is Arkham Asylum.
Never did I think I would say that Schumacher did something best of all the Batman interpretations, and it's not in a negative, like a joking type of way.
He was a trendsetter in that respect.
Joker. All right. What do we think so far based on the quick looks we've gotten? I didn't dig it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I didn't hate it. I mean, but I'm of the mind because I like Barry Keoghan as an actor. And I think that he will be a good Joker. But I did think the scene was like ham-fisted. Like it was very just fan servicey. It wasn't really necessary, especially necessary with where they put it. It should have been an after credit scene. So I agree with that.
Yes, if you're going to include it, do it as an after credits.
Yeah,
I would have personally. I just would have cut it, but
yeah,
if you're going to include it, after credits.
Yeah, I don't understand the decision to put it where it was, but whatever. I also think that I think Matt Reeves shot a bunch of scenes with him. Like there was some like
shot 2 as far as I know.
Yeah, and then I think like he
Scene
shot
where
some
Batman's
like fake ones.
profiling him.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. I read it was like a Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, like Joker was very much a Hannibal Lecter type. Like like talking to him about Riddler.
I liked his laugh.
It's interesting that they cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they thought the movie was already too long.
Mm-hmm. I liked his laugh a lot. I think he will be a good Joker. I just personally hope that he's not a big part of the next movie. I hope he's a big part of like, I guess the third one, or now like if they go this route with the TV show, like maybe he's in the TV show and like do that and have him come into the movie in the third movie. They just like, they don't need to do Joker again right away.
If we get a Joker as the main bad guy, I hope it's not till the third one.
Yeah.
If they can even resist that, cool. Like there's so many good villains in Batman. Like use some other one. Use ones that you fucking failed at previously in live action, or use ones you haven't even seen yet in live action. Do Mr. Freeze if you could do him right.
Matt Reeves wants to do him.
You could do Poison Ivy. Like I guess everyone else at this point has been done well. Some have been done well 2 or 3 times. But yeah, then there's others that they just haven't done yet.
Or do something new. Do like a more recent Batman story, like, Court of the Owls, which like I hope that they do. That would be fun.
Yeah, I thought that's where they might be going when I heard them talking about like Thomas Wayne not necessarily being a good guy, and like I was like, oh, it's gonna start going into like
founding families and like their corruption.
Yeah, it felt like it was gonna start moving into Court of Owls.
Yeah,
but that would have been a lot to try to stuff into that movie.
So, what do you guys want to see from the sequels? Is there any like things that you really want to see? All right, while you're thinking, I want them to do Robin by the third one.
Yeah, I would
see if they can actually do it right.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Going back to what I just said about things that they've fucked up previously, I want to see them actually do Batman and Robin in the third one. The second one would be too soon, and I think it would be really good for Bruce's arc, based on what they've done so far. Some of the best dramatic material, in my opinion, was just the stuff of him and looking at that kid who lost his parents. I think if you can do Robin right, he's got to be an actual teenager. He can't be a 24-year-old dude, which they did in Batman Forever, which doesn't make any fucking sense. And you can't go as young as a 10-year-old kid because then that looks ridiculous. But if you can do the character's supposed to be 16, 17 years old, and he's played by a 16 to 19, 20-year-old dude, that you can make that work.
I don't want it to be Dick. I don't think I want Dick Grayson. I just don't like that character. I mean, maybe they'll do a different take, but
you want Jason Todd?
Dick Grayson's the better Robin.
I think Jason Todd's more interesting.
You just want Joker to kill Jason Todd?
He's definitely more interesting. I will give you that. But
yeah, then they could kill him off at some point, or kill him off.
For me, other than, I mean, I mentioned it already, Court of Owls is definitely up there. I'd like to see Hush. Hush would be cool. Never seen that live action. It's a great story, great villain. So, that would probably be like up there for me. I haven't kept up with any of like the newer stuff that they've done. So I don't know, but maybe over the past like 10 years, that's probably what
I mean,
15 years.
Yeah, I heard there hasn't been any new, like, someone was like, oh, I keep hearing people talk about Court of Owls, like wanting to see
It's like
them.
15 years ago.
Because they're the only good villains that have come in Batman in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they were like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, what's his name?
Before that, it was probably Harley Quinn, and
Mhm.
she debuted in the series.
Yeah, that author, like, he had like a nice tear, like 30 issues of like really like trend-setting new villains, and then
Yeah,
like
no,
it
I'm
kind of
cool
just
with
shit the bed.
something like that. Yeah. Doug? Oh, and yeah, I never mentioned the Batmobile. We kind of mentioned it really quick, but fucking the
Amazing.
Batmobile was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Best
The whole
one
scene was awesome.
since Batman Returns, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Might even be cooler than the one in Batman Returns, even though the Batman Returns one looks cooler.
It was just so
he did a lot of things right. I don't have much of a thought on the Batcave yet.
I'm hoping that they move to like a real Batcave.
Yeah.
What was it in like the subway, like underneath
like
the
like an
manor?
old train station or something.
Okay.
It looked like.
I was half expecting to. I don't know if you guys have seen like that that comic book like rendition of like the Batcave where Batman has like the dinosaur like in the Batcave. Yeah. So
And the
that
big penny and all that.
Yeah, that was kind of like, I don't know why, but when we got that first like overshot view of it, I was like, this kind of looks like that. Like I'm expecting like the dinosaur to be there.
Doug, though, anything that you were hoping to see?
I think I just want to see him be like I want to see him be closer to the Batman that we know. As far as I want to see the Bruce Wayne persona start to be something that he's using. If the Batcave can move to the Wayne Manor, that would be cool. And he's actually like in the Wayne Manor.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to kind of see him start to become Batman, but I don't want the movie to become like a different Batman movie. I just want him to start having some of the things. I'd like to see the suit. Although the suit looked great. I mean, I've been expecting it to evolve by the time we get to the next.
Is it going to continue to be the most bulletproof suit in like
I hope so, yeah.
American history? Honestly, just give everyone in the army and fucking every police officer, just give them the Batman suit and you'll never have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I like that they didn't like explain it.
Yeah.
They weren't like, oh yeah, it's this military grade.
Lucius Morgan Freeman pops up.
Like I knew that.
Very
like,
good,
I get
Mr.
it.
Wayne. Very good.
Yeah, he's rich and he got his hands on some sort of bulletproof armor. Like, fine, I don't care. So yeah, I don't need that.
It was unimportant.
Explained.
Like,
it'd be cool though. Like, I do like though when he like if he goes a little bit more stealthy in the next one, that would be kind of like a neat little change. He's like, I can't just like take fucking punches all the time. I need to be a little bit more.
It was cool that he fucking stabs himself with adrenaline.
Yeah, that was friggin' crazy. It's hardcore.
Yeah,
that was
he was like,
that was interesting.
I really one other thing, and I don't think we mentioned this, but his gadgets were cool. Like just the contact lenses and like
the
like
one was cool.
Thrown together technology that he used to do his investigating and stuff was really interesting, and also the adrenaline that was cool.
Contacts were the coolest one.
Yeah, I like the contacts a lot.
That was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
So in this movie they killed off the DA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess that leaves like room for Harvey to potentially.
And
did they kill the commissioner too?
Yes. Yeah.
Did they? I thought he just got in trouble.
Wasn't that
Or
one
he was
guy?
going to get in trouble.
Was he the commissioner or was he somebody else?
Wasn't
Which
the commissioner the guy who got his face eaten off by
The
the rat?
guy.
Or was he just
No,
his partner?
He was his partner.
Gordon's partner. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the
commissioner, I believe, was the one who was giving him Gordon shit, giving Batman shit in the like interrogation room type place.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
no, he didn't die.
I believe
We'll
I believe he's probably corrupt. Batman like basically said you're corrupt, and
Yeah.
I'll probably get fired or some shit.
But like, so it's probably Harvey's gonna move in for DA. I would guess.
They do that.
Make sense.
Why else like blow up?
I mean,
the
it's very similar to how they killed the DA in Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking of the commissioner in Dark Knight.
Commissioner Loeb
drinking the poison.
Yeah, he's
Loeb.
like, I'm gonna tell you what I do when there's a crisis because you're never gonna be like a commissioner.
Yeah.
Gordon.
Yeah, Carl
That was
Finch.
so-
Carl
that was
Finch
so
was the
cheesy.
district attorney in Batman Begins, and Commissioner Loeb.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them died, and then you get their replacements, Gordon and Dent.
Nolan writes some fucking corny scripts sometimes.
Oh fuck yeah, he does.
Yeah,
It's
he
part of
does.
his charm.
Yeah.
And that's why that trilogy will hold up so well. We'll be talking about it forever. There's so much fun to joke about.
So many good one-liners.
All right, last question. You just made me think of it. Where would you so far? Where would you put this? I guess if you're comparing 1-to-1 movies, the Batman versus Batman Begins versus Batman '89 versus, I guess you could say Batman versus Superman and Batman Forever. Yeah, the only ones that matter: Batman '89, Batman Begins, and the Batman.
I don't think I don't know. I mean, I almost want to say 3 behind Begins and then Batman '89, but it's very hard to like make that decision without nostalgia glasses.
No, oh, without a doubt, it's incredibly hard.
So, I'm gonna say that now, like 3, and then once I marinate on the movie a little bit more, then I could probably make a more well-informed decision.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
I'd put it 1 probably right now.
Whoa!
Out of those 3, I think the big thing.
No nostalgia glasses for Doug.
Doug didn't have nostalgia glasses for '89 to begin with.
Yeah, I don't love '89 like you guys do.
Do you like Returns?
Returns is I mean it's got some good performances.
Like more than '89 Returns.
I like Returns more now than I did as a kid.
I think Returns is actually.
I like the Christmas, the holiday, and
it's a great holiday movie.
A lot of like over the top performances. I mean, you got DeVito's Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better. So all right. So you said it's better than Batman Begins. Okay. Obviously, you say it's better than Batman '89 and Batman Returns. What about Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight?
So it's definitely better than Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, so this is already your number 2.
Yeah.
Wow. Or is it better than Dark Knight?
That's the question that I can't answer at this moment in time. Did I walk out of the theater as like if you compared how I walked out of the theater for both movies, I was definitely more hyped when I left Dark Knight. Like I had more, and I was like, "This is an amazing movie," and I was higher on the Dark Knight when I walked out than I was on the Batman. I enjoyed both movies, but like when I walked out of the Dark Knight, I was like, "Wow, this is like incredible!" Like this is like the best Batman movie I've ever seen, and it did a lot of things right. So it's hard to. I want to see the Batman again. I need to see the Dark Knight again because honestly, it's been a while since I've seen the Dark Knight and see how the Dark Knight has held up. But I mean, I would guess that it wouldn't top the Dark Knight.
Yeah, it's so tough. Like the nostalgia thing that Corey brought up, like in my opinion, there's 6 fucking Batman movies that I consider like 5-star classics. The 2 Burtons, the 3 Nolans, and this one. I can make a fair argument that the Batman is the best one. Like I knew it from watching it the first time, but fucking with all of the nostalgia elements of the 2 Burton ones and the 3 Nolan ones, and with what those ones did so well in certain ways, it's so tough. It's going to take me watching this one a bunch of times before I can fairly like lump it into a certain spot.
Yeah, for me, like that's where I'm at with The Dark Knight, because it's just, I think The Dark Knight's got to beat it, but I don't know. I gotta see it.
The Dark Knight ultimately, it's got Heath Ledger, and that's like the wild card. Like that's fucking one of the best performances of all time. Like it's tough to top for like that reason alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of cool moments in Dark Knight, and
yeah, that means a very well-made film, even if it's very got some silly plot points and silly writing.
Yeah, and silly action.
Yeah, it's got a lot of silly shit. But I mean, ultimately, it's a comic book movie, so it should be entitled to have at least some silliness.
Don't forget Batman Forever.
About what?
It's also not being forgotten about it.
Forget it
as a movie.
I said, don't forget Batman Forever. Batman Forever is a great film. You got to add that to the list.
What list? I'm not adding to my 5-star Batman list. It's like a solid 2 or 2.5. I'll give it.
I say 3. I give it a 3.
You give it a 5. Don't lie.
No, 3.
All right. Anything else about the Batman? We good?
I'd probably just want to call out the score, because I felt like Corey mentioned it, but we didn't really talk about it. I was like
score. I was like, the score of what? What score are we talking about?
Yeah, so I'm watching actually something else. I'm multitasking and just wanted to get you guys on the score. No, I mean the movie score was fucking phenomenal, and I like. It was one of those tunes where like throughout the day, throughout the remainder of the day after watching the movie, like I could just hear it in my head, and it was like it just like embedded itself in my head, and like that's how you know it's a good freaking score, if you just like it just sticks with you, like the Jaws music or like
the Batman theme
John Williams stuff.
Really, it might have topped Zimmer and James Newton Howard already.
I would say it did.
Yeah, it was well done.
I can't say yet that it's better than Danny Elfman's, but it's fucking great.
Oh yeah, I'll have to think about Elfman, but I would say definitely top Zimmer.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I like that, like the Nolan trilogy score a lot too. So it's not like
it's a really good score. This was just like
it continued to like get better, like as it that series went on.
Yeah, this one was just
Giacchino just brought his fucking A game with this one. He's done a lot of superhero scores, and this is by far the best one. I can't even think of how any of his Homecoming music goes. I've seen those movies a decent amount of times.
Yeah, it's just had like a classic like movie score that you know is gonna just like like kind of like Elfman's score, where just like it's Batman and it's gonna stick with you. So yeah, it was really strong. I mean, this movie had a lot of awesomeness. It's hard to like pick out a weak point in the movie. And like we did talk about. Yeah, the stuff that we did talk about, like it was definitely like nitpicking.
Yeah, it wasn't like anything that like hurt the movie.
No, I think it was just the things that like I would have that have stopped me from saying this was a masterpiece to this was a really fucking good movie.
Yeah.
But it gives them a little room for 2 to just like not. I mean, Dark Knight.
I mean, 2 tends to be the best in Batman movies, so.
Yeah, so that's going to be.
We shall see in probably 2025. 2025. That's a long time from now.
I don't know how they do like. So if they do freeze, like how do you even do freeze in that world?
I don't know. Figure out a way to make it work.
Apparently, I think Matt Reeves said that Freeze was on his short list, so
Maybe
he must have an
just
idea.
Fucking throws people in freezers.
He's like Jigsaw, but he just throws people in freezers. It's very one note.
Yeah.
He just sneaks up behind you and just like rah, it just throws you in a freezer.
Yeah, or he's like a serial. He's like the ice cream truck or the ice truck killer.
Yeah, Dexter.
From Dexter, where he just like is a serial killer that kills people, and then like you can put their bodies in the freezers or something.
Yeah. They'll figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah,
I hope they don't do that. I don't know how he would pull it off, but I'd love it to be like more fantastical if possible.
No, all you're getting is a guy spraying water on people and throwing them out in the cold.
I mean, that sounds pretty terrible, but
yeah. I wouldn't like that at all.
No, even like the serial killer that just like chops up bodies and puts them in the freezer is kind of like doesn't feel like Freeze, but
like Mr. Freeze's whole thing is he's doing it because of his like his
wife.
like sick wife, so he's cutting up people and throwing them in freezers because of his like sick wife.
Yeah, they're all doctors that didn't help him or something.
Yeah, all right.
He goes after the doctors of Gotham, or like the insurance fucking people in Gotham. It's like Saw 6.
Arnold Schwarzenegger plays him again. He gets his second shot, like Jamie Foxx.
That's a second shot too far, my friend.
how do you like? I still don't know how you do like a comic book accurate Freeze in that world.
Well,
You're just gonna show up with
try
the
to
freeze
figure it
gun
out.
and start,
Try to
like,
figure it out
freezing
for us.
people.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna get serial killer Freeze.
Probably.
Sticks bodies in the freezer.
That seems like most accurate.
Yeah, lame.
All right. Well, that's all we've got for today. Thank you again for listening. We don't know what our topic's going to be on our next episode, but when we do, we'll let you guys know. So as always, this has been Corey, Doug, and Murph at Live Breathe Film. See you again next time, movie lovers.
Bye.